Hey, how's it going, everybody? Soundwaves TV. I'm Stephen Kirk. Hey, look, it's CHASTA. Hey, look, it's Dennis Willis.
Hey. And
we drink.
Carry on, Steve. I'm going to drink.
Yeah, please go right ahead. Hey, welcome back. You know, we have been taking a look at the music scene for over 40 years now. And one of the things that we've done, now that we're celebrating our 8th season of the new iteration of Soundwaves here, is we've really honed our focus into the local scene.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not just the local bands, it's the local venues, it's everything music in the Bay Area. And what we want to do today is we want to kind of take a look. We want to take stock in what's happening in the local scene these days. Economics being what they are, people don't have the discretionary funds that they may have had last year, the last couple of years where things were a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, if you're spending $15 on a dozen eggs, are you going to be able to go out and go to a club kind of thing? So let's start locally, and then we'll talk globally next time, you know, but let's look close.
Okay.
Home.
Start close to home, close to the heart, if you will. I have noticed recently, I've been going out to a lot of local shows, and I will say I went to Neck of the Woods in San Francisco, like Ocean Beach area.
Nice, yeah.
And,
Fun place.
And it was for a Midriff show. Midriff, a great band. Check them out. They're going to be playing at Outside Lands this year. I'm so excited.
Yay.
They're a fairly new band, but they have I don't know, 1.5 million monthly views or listens on
Wow.
Spotify, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So the reason I know them is because Kai Nukerman, the drummer, of course, is formerly of The Alive and is Jay's star student. Jay has taught him.
We've had him on the
Yeah,
show
so
before.
Jay's
That's
like
cool.
his, uncle.
Yeah.
Literally. So anyways, we went to see him and we walked in and we were like, holy crap, it's packed. And not only is it packed, but it was kids. It was
wow, nice.
And it was kids
Yeah,
dressed
yeah,
like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
1995.
Nice.
And there was a part of me that wanted to do the curmudgeon thing of like, oh God, I feel so old, like docs are back and big flare jeans.
No, but you didn't, did you?
But I didn't. And I went, oh my God, this is so wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
No one had their phones out. The kids were in a pit. And then this is a bigger scale, obviously, but going to the Deftones, I do need to make this bridge because it was the same exact thing when I went to see the Deftones at the Chase Center. We're on the floor and we're in the middle of the pit, and I look around and I'm like, I'm the oldest person I see.
That's awesome.
Like there were, Jay
Yeah.
Jay looked at me and he goes, "These are kids." I was like, "Yes!"
Yeah.
It was amazing. So I am seeing a lot of local shows pop off, and it does seem to be a lot of kids. Places like Bottom of the Hill, which will often have all ages shows.
Right,
Old
yeah.
Princeton Landing,
Sure.
always all ages shows, and these kids are coming out in force. Oh my God, it makes me so happy.
But that's the way you got to do it.
Yeah.
You've got to build that next generation, you know, and there is something to be said for going to a club, getting shit-faced,
Yes.
rocking out to your favorite
Yes.
local bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's great for us old farts, you know, but you've got to open a door to the younger generation because they're going to come up. And hey, guess what, bar owners? They'll be 21 someday.
Yeah.
And they'll be back, you know.
I think it's a very
Right.
smart choice.
Yeah, no, it is. And it does my heart nice to whenever I see those social media posts and it's just like sea of people, you know, because discretionary income is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to continue this conversation as we go because that's what we do. We take a look at the scene. And we were talking a couple of weeks ago about like what was different from when we started 7 years ago. And what's making me think now about what's going on is like COVID was 5 years ago. Here we are talking about like 5 years. It's a 5-year anniversary. Well, let's remember what that was like. People weren't going to shows because they couldn't go to shows. I get that. But the ripple effects were that the artists were suffering, the venues were suffering.
Yeah.
That's why we ended up doing Banding Together.
Yeah.
And I look out and I don't see a rosy economic sort of thing. And again, next week we're going to talk about the big bands that might be affected by this. I do see a similarly dark sort of thing. And yet people are, and yet life finds a way. And yet these clubs are filling up. And yet kids are putting down the TikTok and they're going out and they're rocking out to a band.
Yeah.
So I think that even though the deck is stacked against all of it, to see music connecting with young fans, new fans, local fans, that's why we're here.
It does. It makes your heart soar. I went and saw Sam Chase at the Kilowatt
Yes.
a month or so ago. Also packed and packed all night. Packed from Jay and I went to dinner, and I think we got to the Kilowatt like at 7:30 or 8 because we're early birds, and we sat at the bar and drank for an hour or so. But like it was packed from then on.
Right.
And I thought to myself, like kind of looking to next week's bigger conversation on the bigger scheme of this. But I thought to myself, I wonder if people can't afford the big ticket, so they're going, I can afford $10 or $15 bucks or whatever to go to this bar, or maybe go to a show at a venue that doesn't have a cover charge, but they have dinner, and then they see whoever's playing. So people can still get their entertainment with this great local scene, and thank God we have that in the Bay, for, 10, 15, 20 bucks. That's a lot easier to come by.
You can spend thousands of dollars and be Gene Simmons roadie for a day.
Don't.
Or you we'll talk about that later. But you could take that same couple of $1,000, and how many $10, $15, $20 shows can you go see? You can get a whole night of entertainment. You can get
a year's worth of entertainment.
And it's all these different kinds of music, because that's another one of the great things about the Bay Area is that we do it all.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Because there are certain scenes that have a certain vibe and a certain sound and all that sort of stuff. San Francisco, Bay Area, we do it all. And this is an opportunity. Use this as an opportunity to educate yourself about music, because you can spend $15 on a dozen eggs, or you can spend $15 and go out and see a show for 3 or 4 hours and just get your mind blown by this awesome music.
Who needs protein? Screw it.
Steve, you bring up a great point, because right now, as we speak in 2025, all you have to do is throw a rock and you're going to see a thriving hip hop scene, a thriving heavy metal scene, a thriving rock scene, a thriving pop scene. Look at noise pop that just happened. It's like every genre right here is popping off. And that's so cool to see.
And there's so much to be said about the city of San Francisco, and we won't go into that. But what they are doing is supporting art and music. Like the first Thursdays, they're putting music back in the street.
Yes.
That's been very popular. So we're bubbling again, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And one of the things you want to do, we've got our thing. It's the Soundwaves Top 5. Every week we are spotlighting 5 artists that maybe you don't know about yet. And this is exactly what we're talking about. So we're going to let you take a look at the 5 artists this week, not in any particular order, because they're all awesome. But they're awesome enough to be part of the Soundwaves Top 5 this week. But it gives you an opportunity to see some bands maybe you haven't heard of before. You go check their videos out. You go to their websites to see where they're playing. Go drop 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks and go see these guys live, man. Check this out. This is the Soundwaves Top 5 for this week. These are the top 5 artists and songs you need to add to your playlist right now. In no particular order. Pinstock, Going Backwards.
Going backwards, going backwards. Don't want to feel like I'm backwards, not going backwards.
Joy Buzzer, Simone.
I wish that you had a clone. So anytime that you went away, then your twin could stay and I wouldn't be alone.
The Manic Standstill, Reasons Why.
Listen to my reasons why.
Right Proper, Other Side of Me. Jeff and his Army of No One, You Won.
I'm not